my son. Peace is all that you have ever known. But our world is changing, and the evils of magic are returning. You must kill those who use it. No matter the cost.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for your interest in War of Dragnorox. I'm Josh, the creative director, and basically what we wanted to do here today was, in addition to giving you the trailer, just give you a small taste of the actual gameplay and tell you exactly what we're trying to accomplish. So to kick things off, let's talk about the story real quick. The world is in conflict with the evil wizard Dragnorox and his minions, and basically Dragnorox brought magic into the world of Morgath, and in the world of Morgath, magic is evil. So when Dragnorox introduced magic into the world, it was initially a good thing, but his intentions were quite sinister, and he used it to control and twist the hearts of all the creatures on the earth. So to make a really long and complicated story short, in War of Dragnorox you cannot use magic. So you don't cast spells or anything like that. You can use magical items, you can use different things from the environment like shadow elementals, which is what the shadow renderer class uses in combat, or you can create potions or poisons for dots, but you cannot summon magic yourself like in your typical RPG game. So that's just a quick story rundown for the world that we're trying to create, very unique and different. So before I keep rambling on, I'm going to have to pull up some gameplay here and put that on in the background. This is the Shadow Renderer class, and I'm going to show you a bit of the Bonesmith class after this as well. But the Shadow Renderer, like I mentioned, captures shadow elementals within the game to help them as they take up combat, and the Bonesmith typically uses like water elementals for healing purposes. So just one other quick note as well, this is very pre-alpha gameplay, so the damage being done inside this area is not accurate, and there will definitely be a lot of additions and tweaks going on here. In terms of actual gameplay with War of Dragnorox, we're trying to capture the feeling of old hardcore MMORPGs like EverQuest, Dark Age of Camelot, Ultima Online, Lord of the Rings Online, those tab target style games, but adding awesome new abilities, interesting dynamic gameplay, and all while pushing the MMO genre forward. We want a dangerous world with real consequences. Sometimes you're going to need to do those long corpse runs, but that's what makes the game exciting, dangerous, and death being hard is just a part of the game that's kind of been lost. There's also no instances, so we feel this creates a better large world experience, and that ties into a lot that we'll talk about in a minute with gear. But while we're focused on bringing back some of those great game design decisions from the beginning of the genre, we want to push the genre forward in the directions that people haven't been going. You know, we really feel like the genre has either stilted or really gone off in a direction we really don't like, with things like microtransactions and various things like that. So let's quickly talk about some of the things that we're doing different here. So let's first off talk about what we call a dynamic warfare MMO. What does this mean? That basically means that as you play the game, there will be staff members who are acting as dungeon masters who are shaping the world as you play. So they can spawn mobs, they can add treasure, unlock certain areas, put a trap in front of your group, change the layout of the dungeon you're in, cause all sorts of good and bad things to happen to you as well. It's just a dynamic experience that truly gives you that ultimate Dungeons and Dragons feel, and that you can't just program that into a game. We really feel like this is something that's just really neat and unique about our system, and it really adds a lot of longevity to the game. It adds surprises, all sorts of crazy elements, and you don't really know what they are doing or controlling at any point. It's kind of the ultimate Dungeons and Dragons experience, so to speak. And second, we want to create a massively multiplayer experience. The world is at war with Dragnorox and his minions. We want the community overall to progress in that war. We want the community to come together and fight in this war and push this thing forward. So we're going to have sieges, warfare, special events, all culminating the ability to either progress or regress as a server overall in that war. And no two servers will be the same, but basically we're just trying to create that huge, massively multiplayer experience. And we'll talk a lot more about those things as we move on down the road. We're also heavily focused on socialization. There's no auction house. Everything is player-to-player trading. We're not focused on soloing experiences for people. There will obviously be people who figure out how to solo and do things like that, but we're really crafting the game to have a group mentality, a guild mentality. We're really trying to focus on that socialized aspect of the game. And we're also heavily focused on immersion and exploration. As you can see, our UI is very, very minimal. We want to create a living and breathing world. We want you to feel like you're part of it as much as possible. We don't have damage counters flying around. We don't have distracting UI elements. It's a part of the immersion experience, and I'm really excited to show off some of the cool areas and things we've built into this game. This trailer doesn't do it justice. We're kind of hiding the good stuff, but we're trying to show off our world as much as we can in these trailers while doing that. But there's so many amazing places, neat vendors, shops, Easter eggs, secrets, hidden caverns, and so much exploration to do. It's really a heavy focus for us. This is not a vanilla game where what you see is what you get. There's so many cool secrets and things to discover and explore. There's no in-game maps, so you'll truly need to explore and discover these things. Another huge focus for us is a strong competitive endgame. War Dragnorox will launch with 19 endgame raids day one. We know that people are absolute beasts when these games come out and crack through levels, and they get to the end of the game and they're like, where's the rest of the game? We need that, and we really love raiding. We want strong endgame mechanics. Like I said before, we won't have instances, and this creates a very competitive and exciting endgame raid scene. So while you're working collectively as a server on some things in the war against Dragnorox, on others you'll be competing for targets. It makes gear far more rare, valuable. It'll likely take a person several years to obtain full best in slot gear, and some of those things may only drop one time on a server, and some of them may not drop at all. It makes the game very, very challenging and exciting. And in addition to, in line with that, we also want gear to matter. So you've spent hundreds of hours raiding and acquiring DKP, and you've built up your character with the best gear. We literally want you to be 3, 4, 5 times more powerful than someone your same level with bad gear. We love gear, we love loot, we love the look of loot, so as you progress you really need to acquire great gear, and we'll reward that with good cosmetic looking gear. And most importantly, everything in the game, in War of Dragnorox that you earn within the game. There's no level skipping purchasable gear, no cosmetic purchases, no microtransactions of any kind whatsoever. You're going to earn everything you earn in the game by playing, and we're very, very passionate about this. So all that being said, you understand the vision of kind of what we're going for here, and there's so much more to talk about, and we've barely scratched the surface. We'll talk about much of that in the coming months, but essentially we want to push the genre forward in the right direction and create that sense of warfare, a large community, a strong competitive endgame, a true massively multiplayer game where everyone is working together in a war, in an epic war. And finally, I just want to say one thing really quick. This is a huge passion project of ours. We're not asking for any money from you. We're not doing any Kickstarters or crowdfunding of any sort until launch. We're fully funded. We just want those of you who are interested in our project to sign up for the beta. Tell your friends. Stream the game when it's ready. We really, really need your support. We don't like where the MMO genre has gone over the past decade. We feel like it could have gone in a way better direction, and that's what we're trying to do. We want a hardcore pure MMO gaming experience. And if you're not interested in that, what we're building or anything like that, that's great. There's plenty of MMOs where you can dive into what suits you best. But for us, it's a great pure gaming experience with our friends. And like many of you, this genre has helped us get through some really tough times in life. And when things weren't going so great, it's amazing to jump into another world and go on real adventures and meet new people and kill dragons. And we want to capture that again. We want to give that to people. We want you to be able to play this game for the rest of your life. We want our game to be 40 years old someday. So thank you for listening. We appreciate your time. Sign up on our website for the beta access. We're pushing hard on development. We'll have tons of updates coming in the next over the next year or so. And anything you can do to support us by spreading the word about the game is so appreciated. So thank you, everyone.